Afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us for this amazing webinar that the WIMBIZ has put together for us. Today, we'll be discussing women's property, law, customs, and reality. Thank you so much for joining us. I'd like everyone to put, just drop in the chat where you're joining us from. I'm coming to you live from Abuja, Nigeria. So just drop a message in the chat where you're joining us from. What's the weather like where you are? Luckily for us today, it's a dry but cloudy day in Abuja. Yesterday was really wet, but we'd just like to know where you're joining us from. We have an amazing webinar lined up for you. I hope you are all excited to join us today to be discussing women's property rights, customs, laws, and reality. I'm sure many of us have witnessed women losing their property, women thinking they own property and actually understanding that no, the property doesn't belong to them. There have even been there's a famous case in the press recently about who is a widow, who is not a widow, who has rights for property, who doesn't have rights for property. We have an amazing lineup of speakers for you. The chair of the WIMBIZ Advocacy Committee 2026 will be moderating a fantastic discussion for us this afternoon. So thank you so much for joining. I see Port Harcourt, I see UK, Jos, Lekki, Eleme, Lagos. Thank you all so much. Please keep it coming, keep it coming. We want to know where you're joining us from this afternoon. So let me just tell you a bit about WIMBIZ before we continue. Women in Management, Business and Public Service, WIMBIZ, is a nonprofit organization that has over the last 24 years implemented programs that inspire, empower, and advocate for greater representation of women in leadership positions in the public and private sector. So today we're here to discuss and advocate for more women owning property in Nigeria. WIMBIZ is a volunteer-based organization funded largely by donations and contributions by members and partners, and is a supporter of the Code of Ethics and Conduct for NGOs. For more information about WIMBIZ, please visit www.wimbiz.org. At the end of the event, a link will be shared for a quick evaluation. So thereafter, an evaluation link will also be sent to you in a follow-up email. Please endeavor to complete the evaluation as we would love to have your feedback. We kindly invite those of us here today who are not WIMBIZ associates, we call our members associates, to please join us today. I've been an associate since 2022, and I can tell you it has been an amazing experience. So please join WIMBIZ today. For inquiries, please contact WIMBIZ via email, membership@wimbiz.org. So thank you all so much for joining us today. And I'll be handing over to the beautiful, delectable, amazing, wonderful WIMBIZ Executive Director who will be welcoming us and setting the tone for today's session, Ms. Omowumi Akingbongwe. Please give her a virtual round of applause as she takes over the mic. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and good afternoon, everyone, from my end, depending on where you're joining from. I am excited to see you all on the call this afternoon. You're welcome to today's WIMBIZ Advocacy webinar on women's property rights, custom, law, and reality. At WIMBIZ, we believe that true empowerment begins with knowledge. You cannot claim a right that you don't know anything about. And property rights are not property rights are far more than legal issues. They're about dignity, they're about economic security, financial independence, and of course, generational wealth. But despite the constitutional protections, many women in Nigeria continue to face barriers in owning or inheriting properties, especially even as customary practices are concerned. Sometimes it's about lack of awareness, and other instances is limited access to justice. And the cost of this extends beyond just individuals as women. It impacts families, it impacts communities, and it impacts our nation as a whole. It is worthy for me to mention that over the past 18 months, WIMBIZ has intentionally deepened its focus on advancing women in the legal profession through advocacy, mentoring, and strategic collaboration. The WIMBIZ Women in Law Initiative has mentored over 1,000 female lawyers and has also established active partnership with the Nigerian Bar Association, Lagos branch to be precise. We are proud that the mentees from this program are not only growing professionally or growing in their network, they are also WIMBIZ advocates in championing critical issues that affect women. And of course, this particular webinar on women's property rights is not excluded. I'd like to specially thank our speakers for today, His Royal Highness King Godwin Baby Opabi. Thank you very much, Your Highness. Mrs. Uchenna Akimbade, the chairman of the NBA Lagos branch, and of course, Mrs. Sadia Aliu, the deputy manager at the Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria. Their wealth of experience today is going to help us unpack the intersection of custom, law, and the lived reality, especially where women are concerned. As you listen today, I encourage you to do three things. Let's all learn together, and whatever we learn, let's share with our community, our families, and even across our social media platforms, because that is at the edge of advocacy. But of main importance is that you also become an advocate for the future where women understand and can confidently exercise their rights. Finally, I would want to encourage you to please fill our feedback form after the webinar, because it will let us know how much this has been worth your while. It will also let us know the kind of support that you need, because in partnership with the MBA, we're working on providing pro bono legal counsel services for women with pending legal or property issues. So your feedback is very important for the success of this advocacy effort as we continue to address issues that matter most to women. Once again, I want to say thank you for joining, and I look forward to an insightful and inspiring and empowering session. Thank you very much. Over to you, Alfreda.
Thank you very much, our amazing ED. Thank you so much. I don't know if you heard what she said. WIMBIZ started the Women in Law Initiative, and now we have the first elected female president of the Nigerian Bar Association. I'm not saying it was WIMBIZ that did it, but I mean, you can draw your own conclusions. But I think WIMBIZ deserves a round of applause. So please put your hands together for WIMBIZ. Like we said, today is about women, property, the law, the customs, and the reality. So now I would like to invite the moderator of today's webinar, the amazing chair of the WIMBIZ Advocacy Committee 2026. She's my chair because I'm a member of this committee, and she has been steering this committee in such a wonderful way. So please put your hands together, a virtual round of applause as I invite the delectable Dr. Funke Medun. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Mrs. Shola Mogaji, and good afternoon once again, everyone. Our distinguished guests of this program, our speakers, and everyone joining us from Nigeria and beyond. I welcome you again in conjunction with everybody on this call. Like you know, our conversation today goes beyond land. It goes beyond inheritance. It goes beyond legal documents. At its heart today, this conversation is about dignity, economic inclusion, final security, and justice. And as you know, a woman's ability to own, inherit, and control transfer property influences almost every dimension of her life, from access to finance and entrepreneurship to housing, family welfare, and intergenerational wealth. So today, I welcome everyone, and our speakers are ready to get the best of today's program. I like to say that there's a slight adjustment before we begin. I'd like the audience to know that due to an unavoidable professional emergency, one of our distinguished panelists, Mrs. Adiya Aliyu of the Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria, will be speaking first, and she will need to leave afterwards. We encourage you to continue posting your questions for her in the chat room, as our team will collate the questions, obtain her responses, and share with every one of us. So thank you everyone for your understanding as we accommodate this necessary adjustment. So quickly, I'll go to introduce Mrs. Aliyu. So Mrs. Aliyu is our first speaker. She's the Deputy Manager at the Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria. She's a lawyer with experience in legal advisory and mortgage finance. She brings practical insight into the realities of property ownership, housing finance, and access to home ownership. Mrs. Aliyu, we want to say thank you for making time to be with us despite your pressing commitments today. The virtual floor is yours to take now. So let's have your overview. Then we collate questions from the participants later, and we get your responses. Thank you very much, everyone. Join me to welcome Mrs. Aliyu. Give her a warm virtual welcome, the applauses and encouragement. Thank you, everyone. Mrs. Aliyu, you have the floor.
Good afternoon, good morning, wherever the time may be around your area. My name is Sadia Adamu Aliyu, representing Federal Mortgage Bank, or will I say from the perspective of Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria, talking about financing opportunities, about property, home ownership accessible to all Nigerians, including women in specific, through the National Housing Fund scheme. That is the scheme that is eligible for contributors that are contributing within our scheme, that are eligible to have home ownership, because everybody deserves a home. So I'm here to speak on eligible contributors, how they can access single-digit interest mortgage loans with long repayment periods, making home ownership more affordable to every woman in Nigeria. Women are also beneficiaries. We don't, from our section 42 of the Constitution of Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999, as amended, does not prohibit any discrimination on any woman to own a property, and which affirms any female in Nigeria cannot be denied inheritance on any basis, even though our cultural practices sometimes hinders this. But in the Constitution of Nigeria, it is a backup to woman for her not to be discriminatory to any practices of customary against women. So can I go on?
Please go ahead.
Okay. So I would like to just tell every woman in Nigeria that even though a lot of women don't really know that we have the ability to have home ownership, especially market women, they don't know that they can be able to access our loan, but we are ready for any woman that is ready for loan through all the access of our schemes. We have home renovation scheme, we have rent to own scheme, affordable housing schemes, and lots more, even car loans. So we actually are ready for every woman not to be discriminated against any law in the society. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Aliyu, for those insights and opportunities that we can get from the Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria. We appreciate making time to share your expertise despite the demanding schedule. If you are able to take one or two questions, we can have that.
Okay.
Otherwise, we collate later on. I already have a question in the chat room. So as I said earlier on, everyone on the call, you can share your questions, keep them coming. We can take as much as Mrs. Ali you can take now, and we collate others later, and we'll share her responses with her. So, Mrs. Aliyu, I have some questions, and let me take out some of them for you. First one here says that from Nene Obiche, how do we assess these loans? That's one. I could take a second one, so you can also take all of them together.
Okay.
Pardon?
Okay, no problem. It's fine.
All right, thank you. The second one says that from Tosin Fagbule, please, I am interested in the rent to own scheme and I need a lead on how to achieve this, please. There's a comment on the third one. Not sure women are not aware they can own properties, but the cultural nuisance makes them difficult. So speak to that. That will be spoken to by the other panel members. So you may want to take this third one, Mrs. Aliyu, and I'll pause at that point. What is the eligibility criteria to assess these loans? So we can go with those three first. If we have time, we take more. Otherwise, we collate them and we can get your responses later. So over to you, Mrs. Ali.
Okay. So as I spoke, every Nigerian is eligible to that, and including women. So our home ownership comes if a person is eligible, he signs up with us, register with us. After 6 months, you are eligible for all the rent to own, national housing scheme, car loan, rent to own, construction loan that we have. So any eligible Nigerian registered with us can able to access this mortgage loan from us. It's as simple as that. But
Okay, thank you very much.
And including and our mortgage scheme is one of the best schemes because it charges just 6% out of a person's income, unlike other private mortgage banks around. So we only take 6% of your income. What's the next question, please?
Okay, so the next question says that she would like to know how to assess the rent to own. That's Tosin Fagbile. Please, I'm interested in the rent to own scheme, and I need a lead on how to achieve this. May I take a moment, Mrs. Ali? We have our chair around. Here, I would like to acknowledge the presence of the Chairman Board of Trustees, Mrs. Ebison Akinsoya. Our board chair, you're welcome, ma'am, warmly. Everyone, please join us to welcome her with your emojis, your love on the screen. So, Madam Board Chair of the Trustees, we welcome you and we recognize your presence. Thank you very much. Yes, so Mrs. Aliyu, over to you. The rent to own scheme.
Okay. Any woman that wants to register can contribute regularly to the National Housing Fund. That is our NHF scheme. So once you are contributing regularly, you are entitled to that rent to own. The rent to own is a housing scheme that you are eligible to get a house, you be renting, eventually that house becomes yours. So we have houses all over Nigeria having this rent to own. It's actually a new scheme that was introduced, and you don't need to go through a private mortgage bank, unlike other schemes that maybe you have to liaise with a private mortgage bank. This is just between you and Federal Mortgage Bank. They will be remitting every month from your income salary, and that house that you are renting, that you have mortgaged, eventually after offsetting all your loans, that house becomes yours at the end. And how to access it, it's just the normal, having all your papers, NIN, registration, registering with us through the bank, and your bank details and your BVN. All those will be taken to the bank for registration. Then you fall into our scheme. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Mrs. Ali. We have so many questions here for you. The ladies really, and even men here, came really for you. If you permit me, I can take 3 more, then we can excuse you and collate others. Would you be kind to do that for us?
Okay.
Thank you very much. So, ladies and gentlemen on the call, because of the exigencies here, we will only take 3 more questions from the chat room. But be rest assured that we will collate every other question and we get responses from Mrs. Aliyu. So, Mrs. Aliyu, I have one here for you that says that beyond loans, are there low-cost housing schemes that are available, and how can we assess them? Another one says that, are there specific products, and this is from Onyeka Amara, the previous one from Olufumi Olaoshin. So from Amara says that, are there specific mortgage bank provisions specifically to serve women in assessing loans and owning houses? So you may want to take those 2. I will give you the last one for entrepreneurs, and we will collate others for you. Thank you. Mrs.
Okay.
Aliyu?
Yes, please. So the first question, you said, is there any provision? Okay, let me start with the last. Is there any provision for women? So as I spoke, even the Constitution of Nigeria does not discriminate any woman. And same as Federal Mortgage Bank, the scheme that every man is the same scheme, every woman is eligible for it, all the schemes. So we don't have any discrimination on a woman. And it's the same thing that a woman, what a man can have, that's the same thing a woman can eventually have in the same scheme, that everybody is eligible for it.
Okay, thank you very much. And the other one says that beyond loans, are there low-cost housing schemes that are available, and how can they be assessed?
Okay, so the low-cost houses is actually the rent-to-own schemes. That's what we call them, the rent-to-own schemes. So these are the kind of schemes that are not so expensive, as you are renting the house, eventually becomes yours. But we don't have specific low-cost houses, but those rent-to-own houses are houses built by Federal Mortgage Bank, given to individuals to loan for renting, then eventually those houses become yours at the end.
Okay, thank you. And finally, the third one, before we collate, for entrepreneurs. How can entrepreneurs or an entrepreneur who is not on a regular salary per se benefit from the scheme?
Even if you don't have any regular salary scheme, we just need a bank details, knowing that at least an income comes through you in every, maybe whether you are an entrepreneur, informal sectors, market woman, and what have you. Once we know that there is an inflow of income coming to you, we are open to we are very flexible because the repayment structure is very flexible and it is very lenient on every person. It's not like if you don't contribute this month, something is going to. So we have a very large span of years that people are able to latch onto our scheme with leniency and flexibility.
Okay, thank you very much, Mrs. Ali. We will definitely be getting more of these questions because there are so much on the chat room. You may want to share the website where people can get more information about the Federal Mortgage Bank.
Okay, I'll do that.
Thank you very much. So everyone, I would like to let us know that all the people that registered and fill our feedback form for this webinar, we shall be broadcasting the Federal Mortgage Bank contact details and as much information as we have, we will share with you. So I kindly enjoin everyone to ensure that you fill our feedback form. And like the ED said earlier, you also indicate the specific services or service that you may require. As we have partnered with the NBA, Nigerian Bar Association Lagos branch, to offer pro bono service support for certain areas. And we would like you not to miss out on that opportunity. Thank you very much, Mrs. Aliyu. We appreciate your time and the insights that you have shared. Thank you. We will look forward to engaging more with the questions from here that we'll be sharing with you. Thank you very much.
Thank you for
now,
having me.
thank you. And we wish you the best with your engagement. So
Amen.
now I shall be moving on to the next panel members. And I'll be introducing the NBA chairman. So everyone, before she leaves, you can kindly give her a warm applause to say thank you for her, to her for her time. Thank you so much. So now I have two panel members and I shall be introducing one of them. Each of them will speak for 5 minutes to give a general overview each. Then we'll go ahead to the panel questions. So the first person I'll be introducing is the chairman of the Nigerian Bar Association Lagos branch, Mrs. Uchenna Akingbade. Mrs. Akingbade combines extensive expertise in property law and commercial. She's a co-founder of Sunesi DLP, a solution-driven law firm with a strong presence in Lagos and Abuja. The firm provides commercially savvy, ethically grounded, and practical legal solutions to individuals, businesses, institutions, and public sector stakeholders. With extensive experience spanning real estate and property law, dispute resolution, commercial transactions, and corporate advisory, she's recognized for guiding clients navigate complex legal and commercial challenges with strategic insight, sound judgment, and technical excellence. Beyond her commercial practice, she's deeply committed to expanding access to justice through legal representation for indigent, incarcerated persons, prison justice initiatives, and community-centered social impact programs. Uchenna currently serves as the chairman of the Nigerian Bar Association, Lagos branch, where her leadership is defined by a steadfast commitment to professional excellence, institutional reform, innovation, and expanding access to justice for society's most vulnerable. Welcome, Mrs. Akingbade. In the same breath, I will also, thank you, ma'am. I will introduce the second panel member and we go right to the session. Okay, and our second panel member who will be talking to us from the cultural lens, and I already see questions in the chat room asking to speak to this. So here you have it. Next, I would like to introduce His Royal Highness King Emere Godwin Bebe Okpabi. And he's the One in Chia 10 and the paramount ruler of the Ogale Kingdom. His Royal Highness Emere Godwin Maduabuchi Bebe Okpabi, the One Inchia One Eta Ogale, was born on the 9th day of June 1960 into the family of Chief Josiah Unwaha Okpabi of Ogale and Irene Umba Okpabi ni Awala Ejen 1, Elewa of Alode, all in Eleme local government area of Rivers State. A man of many parts, His Royal Highness left the shores of Nigeria to pursue his dream in the United States of America. As a self-sponsored student, he worked in several areas, including driving taxis, menial hotel jobs, dishwashing at hotels, and security guard jobs. He also worked as a campus police officer amongst many others to support his education in the United States of America. He graduated in 1987 with a bachelor's degree in criminal justice, with a minor in political science from Bishop College, Dallas, Texas, USA. He thereafter worked with the state of Texas Parole Department as a district parole officer. He delved into private business in the US and thus became the first Nigerian to own and operate a private post office called the Delta Postal Center in Dallas, Texas. He returned back to Nigeria in the early 90s and continued in his private business. He was the pioneer national chairman of NAFCON Contractors and Vendors Association, which was responsible for the organization and welfare of all contractors doing business in NAFCON. I move quickly because of our time. Our king is a man of many parts. He was also pioneer member of the Rivers Restoration Team in Eleme local government area, one-time pro-tem chairman of the PDP Eleme local government between 1999 to 2001, a delegate member of the PDP Presidential Convention, which took place in Jos, and last but not the least, he was appointed the deputy campaign chairman of the PDP Presidential Election Committee in Eleme local government area. Ladies and gentlemen, join me to welcome our king and our NBA chair, Lagos, as they take on this virtual panel session now, and they have the floor. So please give them a warm applause, virtual welcome, and each of them will speak for 5 minutes each. Thank you, everyone. So my chair, NBA Lagos branch, I start with you. You have 5 minutes to give us a general overview.
Thank you very much, Doctor. Good morning, everyone. It's my utmost pleasure to be on this advocacy webinar today. I thank WIMBIZ for the invitation to speak, and I commend all those who have joined the webinar, and I hope that the advocacy that we hope to push from this webinar would go as far as it's supposed to go and achieve the desired results. So we're here today to talk about women's property rights, custom, law, and reality. When we talk about property rights, what do we mean when we talk about property rights? So let's look into that. Property rights include the right to. Property rights include the right to own property, use and enjoy property, transfer or dispose of property, and inherit property. So we are going to be talking about different things in the course of this discussion. If you're a woman, can you buy your own property? Can you own your own property? Signal lost. Can you inherit? What are the customary rights that dictate, how things are? What is the law on women's property rights? What does the law say? The previous speaker had already mentioned that there is a constitutional provision, Section 42 of the 1999 Constitution. It provides for freedom of discrimination, freedom from discrimination on any grounds. So someone cannot come and say, oh, because you're a woman, you cannot own property. You are constitutionally protected and you can. And then you also have Section 43 of the Constitution, which talks about the right to own immovable property in Nigeria. It does not provide that that right is exclusive to men. Therefore, you are constitutionally protected as a woman and you can own property. Apart from under the law, what does case law say about it? And what do other laws say about it? You have the Land Use Charge, you have the Matrimonial Causes Act, you have wills and estate laws of various states. What do they say about women's rights to own properties? Now, what the law says is in one bucket. The law is there. And whilst we'll delve a bit into it in the course of the panel discussions, but we are dealing with two different things. We are dealing with the law and we are dealing with reality, even though the law is there. In reality, how are women's property rights? Those are the things that we are going to be touching on and shedding more light. GPS signal lost. Shedding more light on protection, rights that are available to women, shedding more light on the reality, and shedding more light on things that we can do to improve the current reality that we are in to align with legal safeguards that have already been put in place. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Akingbade, for that overview. Very insightful. And of course, we are all warming up for more insights as you promised. Thank you very much. So I move to our next panel member who will give us a 5-minute overview now. His Royal Highness, King Emere Godwin Bebe Okpade. His Royal Highness, you have the floor. Kindly go ahead and give us a general overview before we move into the panel questions. His Royal Highness, can you hear us? Adil, kindly help check. His Royal Highness.
All of you.
Okay.
I can hear you.
All right, sir. Please go ahead.
I can hear you. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
You can hear me?
We can hear you.
Okay.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, let me quickly go. The theme is women's property right in Nigeria, bridging statutory and customary law through traditional leadership. That's the theme I'm going to speak on. It is a great honor to participate in these rights and the role of traditional institutions in promoting justice, equity, and community development. And community development. I sincerely thank the organizers for inviting me. Particularly, let me thank our dear Princess Omonle and the other world to share on this timely subject. As a traditional ruler of Nchia and Ogale in Elime local government area of Rivers State, I know that land is much more than an economic asset. Land represents our heritage, our identity, and the legacy we hold in trust for future generations. It is therefore understandable that issues relating to land and inheritance are deeply rooted in our customs and traditions. Our customs were established to preserve family unity, protect ancestral heritage, and maintain peace with the community. However, as society continues to evolve, it is important that we reflect on whether some long-standing practices still achieve those noble objectives or not. We must acknowledge that in some communities, customary practices have limited women's access to land and inheritance. Daughters may have fewer inheritance opportunity than sons, while some widows experience uncertainty over their right to remain on matrimonial properties. These realities deserve thoughtful attention, not because our traditions are wrong, but because every generation has a responsibility to ensure that its customs continue to promote justice, peace, and human dignity. As a traditional ruler, we are custodians of culture, but we are also custodians of justice and social harmony. Families look to us to resolve disputes, guide difficulties, conversation, and preserve unity. That responsibility requires wisdom, fairness, and compassion. I firmly believe that culture and fairness are not in conflict. Our traditions have always valued justice, respect, and communal well-being. These same values should guide us as we encourage more equitable approaches to land ownership and inheritance. When women are treated fairly, families become stronger, communities become more prosperous, and future generations are better protected. Traditional rulers, therefore, have important role to play. We can encourage dialogue within families, ensure that women are given a fair hearing in customary dispute resolution, promote peaceful mediation, and work closely with government, legal practitioners, other stakeholders to strengthen in both our customary and statutory systems. This conversation is not about choosing between customary law and statutory law. Rather, it is about ensuring to uphold justice while preserving the rich cultural heritage that would define our community. In conclusion, I encourage institutions, the legal profession, the families to continue working together to create a society where every citizen has the opportunity to contribute and prosper while embracing fairness and inclusion will strengthen not only our communities, but also our nation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, His Royal Highness King. We really appreciate that insight. And
Godwin, baby.
Sir, can you hear me? Were you trying to say something? So thank you very much, His Royal Highness King Godwin Bebe Okwari. We really appreciate that insight, and that's a very great place to land the overview. We all need to work together, and many scope of life up to the nation will prosper if we all take this seriously and work together. So thank you. So I go right now into the panel questions, and I shall be going to Mrs. Akingbade, the NBA chairperson for Lagos State. So, Madam, my first question to you, you tried to touch at that at the beginning when you were talking about the customary rights. So this gives us an opportunity for you to talk extensively about what does Nigerian law actually say about women's rights to own, inherit, and transfer property in Nigeria. And you may also want to take it from the statutory laws protection that protects women in this instance as well. Thank you. Did you hear me?
Thank
Would
you,
you
Mama.
like to come
Yes, I
again?
heard you. I heard you.
Okay.
Yes, I heard you, and I had the question. So Nigerian law provides unequivocally for women's right to own, inherit, and transfer property. Some of the statutory provisions backing women's right to own property, like I said earlier, Sections 42 and 43 of the 1999 Constitution. Section 42 guarantees freedom from discrimination and the right of every citizen to acquire and own immovable property, 42 and 43.
Okay, Mrs. Akingbade, I got some comment that you may want to project a bit more.
Okay.
Thank you very
Okay.
much.
Can you hear me? Am I clear?
This is much better.
Okay. Okay, thank you. So like I said, Nigerian law provides, it's not ambiguous at all. There is clear provision under Nigerian law for protection of women's property rights. The Constitution, first of all, is the ground norm of all the laws in Nigeria. That is where every single law derives from. And this is provided under the Constitution, Section 42, Section 43 of the 1999 Constitution, which provides for freedom from discrimination of any sort. You don't need to be discriminated on the ground that you're a woman, on the ground that you're a man, or on the ground or on tribal grounds or religious grounds. So if that provision is there, it means that as a woman, you're not discriminated from owning property. Now, you also have Section 43, which guarantees every citizen the right to acquire immovable property anywhere in Nigeria. That provision does not give that right to just men. It doesn't give the right to just women. It says every citizen of Nigeria. Now, apart from the Constitution, there are other laws that, provide for women's property rights. The Land Use Act, it regulates land ownership and access, and there is nothing in the Land Use Act that says a woman cannot own property. The Marriage Act recognizes the legal capacity of spouses to own property. Matrimonial Causes Act, it guides the settlement of matrimonial property upon divorce, and there is nothing there that excludes women from benefiting from matrimonial property. You have administration of estate and wills laws of various states. Now, various states have different estate and wills laws, but you have the general provisions that cut across different areas, and they govern inheritance and succession. These laws, you also have Sharia law for the northern part of the country, because right to property ownership is governed by Sharia law, right to inheritance, and women are not excluded. So these, and if you even look at more laws, there have been judicial authorities, landmark cases that protect the right of women to own properties. So that is a general overview. That is a general overview in response to your question of what does the Nigerian law actually say about women's rights to own, inherit, and transfer property. We can inherit. because we are not discriminated against. We can transfer. So essentially, the law itself protects women and ensures that we have those rights.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Akingbade, our NBA Chair, Lagos State. So I come to His Royal Highness now, King Emere Godwin Bebe Opabi. Now, I have a question here for you, and I can see some questions in the chat room also relates to that. In your view, what are some of the cultural and customary barriers that continue to limit women's ability to own on or inherit land? And what roles are the traditional rulers playing to help this situation? Sir, over to you.
Okay. Well, like I said in my overview, our customs are not generally against women per se. But inheritance in Africa, let me speak particularly in my own domain here, Eleme and Ogoni. Yes, women cannot inherit because the land belongs to a family and a woman is supposed to have been married to a family. But by our tradition, women have more rights than even men. In Eleme tradition, if my daughter, for instance, is getting married, I can give a whole farmland. I can give a whole farmland that is in acres as a gift to join her to her matrimonial home so that she will not stay hungry there. So you can see the state of mind of our custom here. And again, when I speak, because what is happening here in Eleme may be different what is happening in Igbo land and Yoruba land and Hausa land and what have you. And I'm sure most of the customs are not discriminatory like that. They are intended to be fair to both the male and the female. But what is happening now is with the adventure of civilization, land is become valuable, people can sell land, and people now know the value of this land. So the male folks in the family are beginning now to deprive their sisters some of this right. But our tradition, our custom per se, doesn't discriminate. If a woman is married to a family, even here in Eleme, there are some widows that will still give farm. If the family head is of a liberal mind, if you don't have wicked people like you have all over, they can still give them land. So I don't see any where, just like the lawyer spoke, the law does not discriminate. And our tradition didn't intend to do so either. But it depends on those who are running the affair of the family, running the affair of the community. So the other part of your question, what we are doing now, what I'm doing now, for instance, is to ensure that I continue to guide families, guide the traditional rulers council here in my kingdom of the need that both male and female gender are of importance. In those days, people keep male so that the name can remain. But if you go to some other part of Ogoni, there are places where if a woman, just like the British monarch, when the lady can also be a king, and she marries but still remain in her father's house and she bears her father's name. That's the British custom. The queen got married and still retained her name and still inherit, still continue. It is like that here. In fact, in some part of Ogoni, women can be married and then you remain in your father's house with your husband, and you answer you answer your children, we answer your father's name, and then you have the same right with the right of your brothers there. Your children will have the same right with their uncles, who is actually their brother. So, yeah, in a nutshell, the African father, the African culture doesn't intend to discriminate at all.
Interesting perspective and insight. I've also learned a lot about your kingdom, sir, and I probably should be encouraging my sisters to come to your kingdom. Thank you very much for that insight. I have follow-up questions. I would have wanted to talk to that, but I see that some people are already asking that in the chat room. So I will leave a follow-up to what you said now, to questions in the chat room. So I come back to, thank you, sir. I come back to Mrs. Akingbade, the NBA chair, Lagos State. So, madam, some questions here for you. From your experience and practice, what are some of the most common legal challenges women face when trying to claim or protect their property rights?
Okay. Some of the common challenges, like I said, the laws are there, the protection is there. But a major challenge, and I believe that WIMBIZ has identified that challenge, hence this advocacy webinar. A major challenge is that a lot of women are actually unaware of their legal rights. Please, I want to be sure that you can hear me because your picture seems a bit frozen from my end. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, so biggest challenge number one, women are unaware that they have rights. They are unaware of their legal rights. And the next biggest challenge is the resistance from families. Should I say, let me not jump into resistance. Let me say the next biggest challenge is customs, traditions. You know, should I say our culture. His Royal Highness has enlightened us, and I must say that across Nigeria, different cultures, different traditions approach women's rights to property ownership in different ways. Some are more liberal than others. For example, in the West, where we live, the Yorubas are more accepting and recognizing of women's rights to property ownership. His Royal Majesty has just told us that in their community as well, they encourage it and they have their own way of balancing things out. That being said, the general perspective and general outlook on women's property ownership is, there's still a gap. There's still a huge gap. Even socioculturally, you see a man who is perfectly capable of buying a home, owning a home, but for some reason or another, she would not go ahead to that. So, sociocultural challenges. The first challenge is lack of awareness of their legal rights. Second major challenge, sociocultural challenges, which encompass family, society, and all of that, and the norms that have over time, been crystallized in our way of thinking and our ideology.
Can I come in?
Yes, Yes, your Royal Highness. But sir, hold a moment. Mrs. Akingbade, are you on? Or there's a glitch? I just want to be
Yes,
sure.
I'm on. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Okay, so His Royal Highness King Godwin or Parabi wanted to come in. So I wanted to check with you if you are done with your point, if you've landed.
Mm. So essentially, those are the challenges. I've
Okay.
outlined them. There are more, but to put them under two broad headings: lack of awareness and socio-cultural challenges. And that socio-cultural is a huge bucket that has a lot of things under it: family, culture, way of thinking, norms, traditions over time. So we'll yield to His Royal Highness.
Okay, thank you very much. So His Royal Highness, I understand the bucket is actually with the culture. So we are happy to hear from you. So please do come in.
Yes, I agree with the last speaker that awareness is part of the problem. You see, apart from the fact that our customs and traditions places a man as the head of the family, as the head in the house, that is the only thing, and I think that is it all over the world. What happens is that some families don't pay more attention in educating a girl child. And most women go into marriage in our local communities without knowing anything. And then when you go and you marry to, maybe I should use the extreme word, wicked family, and you know sometimes you can be maltreated there. It's not a blanket thing. It's not a tradition. There are some women here in my kingdom who are married to somebody, and a situation comes where they lost their husband and they don't have any child. Their husband happened to be a little bit wealthy and owns property. And you will see that the family members of the bereaved husband, the late husband, will want to maltreat this young lady by now referring to the tradition or whatnot. It doesn't the woman fight for her right. If she summons the family of her late husband to the traditional council, we normally explain the right. And she is given those properties. She will inherit. But you see, I cannot jump from the palace here and then go and begin to enforce that. It is only when the report comes, and all this comes from awareness. We don't train our girls' children, our girl children. If we do that, you can see that even the tradition we are talking about does not discriminate. How can you be with a man, you struggle with a man, he builds a house and buys some land, and then uh, debt comes in, and then the family members come to chase you out. And everybody says it's the custom. No. Yes, the custom say you don't have any male child for that family. You don't have a child, but you are still the wife. In fact, there is an exchange of blood through goat when marriage occurs in my tradition. That signifies that that lady becomes traditionally a natural member of that family. If she dies, she's buried there. So that you cannot say now, where do you send her to? You can't send her away. So that is why I believe that awareness is very, very important, like the barrister put it. But I would say we should educate our women. And another one is this giving out forced marriages, giving out and maybe that is because of poverty, where apart from those social things and it's really not our tradition. In those days, people don't look for wealth. Nobody bothers about land. Like I said, it was not too important. Land is for you to grow your food and eat. Nobody is so important about having billions in the bank and all that. So our people live in a harmonious way. The family system is not abused the way it is now. Our girls are our jewels. I love my only daughter, and everything that I have now, if I have to share it, will be given to all of them equally. And so, even the uneducated men in this kingdom, that is what to do. So, if you ask me what is causing most of this thing, I will say civilization, which is the same problem we're having in the larger society. You know, civilization, all this education, all these things that they are bringing in, the quest for wealth, electricity, and all things, and so it does. Nobody cares. So it's not really true that the African culture discriminates against women. No, 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 no. The yes, a woman is not, if you male child, the idea is that who will answer my name? And then the male child is the head of the unit, like I said earlier. Apart from that, the African man, the element man, for instance, love all his children, male or female. It is the society, the larger society now, just like what they are doing in the politics, women are discriminated, even in the economy. So when compared, like I said, when I imagine, I don't know whether they do that in other parts of Nigeria, but I know here we have a woman leader, like I'm the woman king. There is my counterpart who is in charge of the women. She is in charge of all the crops that are grown by women. She made decisions. She and her council make decisions on that. So I think what we need to look at.
Okay, I think there's a challenge with His Royal Highness network.
I was worried. I thought it
His Royal Highness, there seems to be a challenge with your network. Can you hear me? Okay, Mrs. Akinbade, can you hear me well?
Go to court and also not.
Can you hear Mrs. Akinbade? Can you hear me? Just
when
to be
the man
sure.
marries
There's
you,
a challenge.
also go to court and do that one. He cannot go and marry another woman, or nobody can abandon you. They can't hear me.
It's better now.
You're not hearing me.
We can hear you now. Well,
It's
okay now.
Can you hear me?
Yes, it's okay now.
Can you hear
sir.
me?
Yes.
Okay. So yes, so I was saying that even what I do here in this kingdom, but what I spoke about, that women are also chief. Like I'm a king, there is a woman counterpart that we call her also a woman king, and she makes decisions on all the crops that has to do with the women. She takes decisions on that, and we are also encouraging our women now that when they get married, it shouldn't just remain on the traditional marriage only. They should encourage. They should go to the registry and then helps our tradition, helps our custom. But in a nutshell, I think we need to improve. Like I said, this question that only men should be leaders, should be lineage, it doesn't matter. A woman can still continue a lineage. So we need to work on all that. But naturally, I think we have a fair weather customs as it relates to our treatment of our women because the African man
Okay.
loves
I think there's a challenge again with His Royal
children,
Highness's
male or
net.
female. And
Okay.
the Elemic tradition is super. Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir. You may
I'm
want
really
to
sorry.
round up on that, sir, so we can
Can you
take
hear
as
me?
much. I have many questions for you and Mrs. Akingbade, so we can take the questions. So you may, sir, want to land on that if you can
Yes.
hear me.
Go ahead. Let's take the question. I can hear you.
All right, sir. Thank you very much, His Royal Highness King Godwin of Wahabi. Thank you so much. I've learned a lot today. And that insight about the cultural aspects, which Mrs. Akingbade told us, that is the biggest bucket that we have to really, really look into. We've heard from three different perspectives, everyone. Today, we've looked at things from the economic and finance angle. We've looked at the law and tradition. So now, I'd like to invite the audience into this conversation. So we'll be going to the questions, and we have lots of them here. It looks like we would have to collate a lot, in addition to what we have for the first speakers. And I see a lot here. But before I go to the questions from the audience and inviting them into the conversation, I'd like to appreciate and acknowledge the presence of one of our WIMBIZ ambassadors who is also on the call, Hajia Fati Wali Abdurrahman. Thank you so much, Ma, for joining us on the call. We appreciate you and recognize your presence. You are welcome. Okay, maybe on a lighter note, His Royal Highness, I have a comment here for you. Somebody says that her name is Ogale. I need to visit this kingdom. Who knows? Property might be there waiting for me. So, sir, in fact, I am already rooting for my sisters to come to the kingdom, and I've learned so much about your kingdom.
Let her
So,
come.
thank you so much for that
Let her come.
insight. All right, so I go to the questions now. And one of the questions that I will start with is for Mrs. Akingbade. The question here says that I will take two together because of time for you. First one is, what does the law say about property co-ownership with a spouse? E.g., Mr. and Mrs. ZZ. Okay, and the second one is, does a trust protect property better than a will? So that is for you, Mrs. Akingbade.
Thank you. First question is, what does the law say
What does the
about
law say about property co-ownership with a spouse,
property
Mr. and
ownership?
Mrs. XYZ? And that's from, yes, Ogale as well, that wants to go to the kingdom. Okay.
You can. So you can. Spouses, like I said, the Marriage Act provides for rights to own. It does not say it's just the husband that can own property. The wife can own property and they can co-own. They can co-own. However, we know that there has been a lot because these things, we are all evolving together. His Royal Highness has said a lot of things that it's not like the customs are faulty, that is because we are evolving. So as we are evolving, can you hear me, Ma? You're frozen on my screen. I want to ensure I'm not frozen to you all.
Hearing you.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. So as we are evolving, things are shifting and there are these clashes. So in the evolution, would be adjusting if before it was assumed, not assumed, before the norm was okay because it was more of a communal kind of thing. Um, if a man inherits, then it's okay. It will cover his wife, cover everybody. His Royal Highness has said civilization. That is the case. People are living farther and farther apart from each other. That community that we used to have maybe does not necessarily exist anymore, or it exists, but it's more stretched out far away. So co-ownership, you can. So stories, things that have happened over time. A husband may buy, or they will buy and they will put Mr. and Mrs. Jones, Mr. and Mrs. Jones, and it turns out that there may be several other Mrs. Joneses out there. So to safeguard yourself, my husband is on this call, so let me even just put it in a way that he will hear as well. To safeguard yourself, you can put it as Mr. Tunde and Mrs. Uchenna Akimbade. That way, there's no confusion as to who the owners of the property are. Rather than just putting it as Mr. and Mrs. Akimbade, there may be only one, I don't know, there may even be multiple Mr. Akimbades. So that is how I would advise you, because these things will evolve. It's a fusion of evolution, customs, traditions, things that have been happening, practices. So even though the law would not expressly state, capture it as Mr. and Mr. Tunde and Mrs. Uchenna, but that would be a reasonable way to go about it to avoid stories that touch in the future. I hope I was able to respond to that question properly. Then,
Yeah.
with regards to, thank you, with regards to whether a trust provides better protection than a will. Well, neither here nor there. Neither here nor there. What I can say is, for a will takes effect upon the death of someone. So it's afterlife. That is when the will takes effect. But a trust can begin to operate even in your lifetime. So instead of putting property in your individual name, you set up a trust, and the properties that you and your spouse or you and your family, because some people co-own property with their family members, their brothers, their sisters, properties that you and your family own are in a particular vehicle. A trust essentially just takes it away from the individual and puts it in a structure. Um, with that, with that, you can, benefit from a couple of things. There can be certain incentives in terms of tax, also in terms of continuity of the property, and ensuring that, because if it's already in a trust, it's independent of you. So even if something happens, that trust is existing. There are instructions as to how that trust is going to run. But it does not mean that there are no pros and cons to that as well. But maybe that's something that can be expanded on at another avenue. But it's I can't say there's a right or wrong way to go about it. But one thing that you must know is that you have greater control over a trust in your lifetime. A will takes effect after your life. And there are so many things that can happen to a will. The will can be contested, so many things. The will can go missing, so many things that can happen to a will. And by then, you would not be around to be able to remedy some of these things that may happen. And I think a more common way is that, people create a balance. You can have both. You can put some of your assets in trust, and you can still make your last will and testament, because will and testament, your last will is not just about property. There may also be other wishes that you will put in the will. For example, how you want to be buried, how you want your family to relate and things like that. So a will is not strictly limited to property. It can also extend to other things. A will, yes, you can make a will, but at the end of the day, the person will be dead and gone and may not be able to control whatever happens, or how their instructions in the will are carried out. But a trust is, you are institutionalizing it. So, like I said, pros and cons to both.
Okay.
They can both coexist. We may need to delve much more deeper into a trust and the will, and I don't think that we have the time for that here now. So I would land on that.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Akingbade. And that was very interesting. And on a lighter note, Mr. Akingbade, he said he's on the call. So that was a good one. I'm sure Mr. Akingbade heard as well. All right, thank you very much. Okay, so I have the next question for His Royal Highness,
You can
King
see.
Godwin Okparabi. And sir, this is interesting. It was one of the things I tried to pull out when you were speaking, but because I saw questions around them, and I've waited. By the way, our time is fast spent. We have so many questions, but I still want to create a kind of mix. So I'll take
Yeah.
2 hands. So admin, I'm going to have 2 people speak 30 seconds each to a call. So the first 2 hands I find up, I will allow them to speak. So first 2 hands, you can raise up your hands if you really want to speak to either of our panel's members that are here. But I will only take the first 2 hands. So admin, you will help me with that when I'm done with this next set of questions for His Royal Highness King Godwin Okparabi. So sir, these questions for you says that, what of women that don't marry? Does this mean that there is no economic protection for them? And co-join that question says that, so what happens? So the first one is from Adekemi Oluwaseun Adebampo. Co-join that is from Onyeka Amara, and she says, so what happens to unmarried daughters? And why will a woman's inheritance rights be tied to marriage? So His Royal Highness, that's for you. Admin, help me get ready the first 2
Okay.
hands. All right.
Can you hear me?
Oh, yes, sir. Please
Can
go
you hear
ahead.
me?
Yes, please.
Okay. Let me first of all, you can see how liberal our customs are. And again, when I speak, particularly on Ogali, my custom here. When the large speaker spoke on will and trust, you see, in my tradition, a woman property belongs to her husband. A husband property belongs to his wife. Now, this issue, when your modern civilization is talking about joint account, and our tradition already covers it. Now, even in a polygamous home, what happens if a man with several wives and several children, the man passes on? What happens is that his property is divided by our tradition into the number of houses, the number of wives he has. Now, if the other part, if it happens that the wife dies, you see how liberal our tradition is? Even though the property belongs to the man, it is the children of this woman that will inherit the wealth of the woman. So that is that. Now, again, I lost the thought. If you can just rehearse that question again so that I can go, please, very quickly. I'm sorry. The question that you asked. I just wanted to touch base in that,
Okay, that's fine. So the question, and they are co-joined.
Okay. Why women's property is tied to their husband?
Yes, so the first person, sir, I can do that for you. So the first one from Oyeka said that, I'm sorry, says that, this is Adekemi, what of women that don't marry? Does this mean that there is no economic protection for them? And co-join Oyeka said that, so what happens to unmarried daughters? And why will a woman's inheritance rights be tied to marriage?
Okay. It's not really tied to marriage. In Ogale, for instance, if a woman doesn't get married and she remain in her father's home, um, it depends on her brothers. But during the life of her father will ensure that she gets farm. The way the farmland are given to her brothers, so it will be given to her. Now, what happens when their father leaves is what I'm calling greed now. Their fathers, and from family to family, the brothers may decide to say, okay, they may now reenact what their own definition of the custom. That a man is the owner of the land. But apart from that, when you marry, it is until you are married, so it is not only you will not get farmland until she's married. So farm is supposed to be given to what we call adult, to a family. It's not for just young boys or young girls. So our tradition doesn't recognize, in terms of acquisition of land by tradition, not buying or so, it does not recognize you until you are paired. As a man, my boys now who are not married, if I'm giving out my farmland now for farming, I won't give to them. When any of them that gets married will be given land, then my larger family land that is headed by a man older than me, once any of my children marries, his name entered the farm sharing register. So will be my daughter who marries into a new family, her husband's name and her name will be also in that family land sharing register, if I'm using the English language. So you see, our tradition doesn't necessarily, to answer the person who asked that question, it doesn't necessarily say that ownership is attached to her being married. No. Remember, I gave you an example. There is a community in Ogoni. Some daughters, first daughters, if you don't want to marry, unless you, the daughter, want to marry, if not, the fathers will generally not want their first daughters to go out. You can have, if I say that here now, the women will say, oh, are you saying that she shouldn't marry? No. The president of France, the wife, they call it their partner. So if this lady,
I think there's a challenge. Okay. Thank you very much, sir.
As
I can't hear. I think there's a challenge again with
Yes,
His Royal
there's a
What
serious challenge. Mm.
should
Sir, can you hear me? I think there's a challenge with your network.
the
Can't hear him at all.
there
I can't hear
belongs
anyone, sir.
Mm.
Sir, whilst we wait for His Royal Highness's network to come back, I would like to I have 4 hands up, and I can see one
the
of the
father's
males.
house. I have a situation where, say that again. Okay.
Okay, sir, we had a challenge with your network at some
Okay.
point. So I was trying to use that to let the people online speak. Can I go ahead?
You can hear me now?
Yes, sir, we can hear you. But I said that whilst we had a challenge with your network, I was trying to call
You hear me
on
now?
people
You
with
hear
their
me now?
hands up to come on board. Can I go ahead with that
So,
still,
Dr.
sir?
Funke, may I come in, please? May I come in for a
Yes.
minute? Please,
Sorry,
before you call, can you hear me?
Yes, please, I can hear you.
Yes. Before you call the people online to speak, while His Royal Highness was speaking, I was scrolling through the chat box, and I think that there are some questions there that is important we provide answers to or shed some light on. And I will try to do that as briefly as possible before we yield for people to make their verbal interventions, if that's okay by you.
Yeah, that's fine by me. So the plan was that we take online, then we come back to the chat.
To the chat.
So,
Okay.
yes. So we round up, go online, then come back to the chat and round up with that.
Okay.
That works. We have loads of questions and the time is not much on our hands anymore. So I take first our ambassador, and interestingly, our hands came up first. Hajia Fatima Wali Abdurrahman. Admin, please allow her to speak. So online, please, we have 30 seconds to make our questions so we can manage our time well. Then I'll go for Clentina, 30 seconds, and I go for Blossom Senator Regu, 30 seconds, and we go back to the chats. We allow the speakers to address these questions, then we go back to the chat room. Please, Ma, go ahead.
Okay, hello everybody. Thank you very much for recognizing me. I came in very late, so I wasn't sure what had been discussed before, but I just wanted to shed light on Sharia law, which is across most of the northern states. So in Sharia law, the woman's position is this. So first of all, Sharia law takes the position that property and children belong to God, and that people are only custodians while they are alive. So because of that, there's a prescribed sharing formula for when a person dies, of which the owner of property and children ideally do not have a say. They have to comply. Now, one of the biggest contentious issues that happens, that it tends to come up, is the fact that when children are involved, the male children are given double what the female gets. Now, the flip side of that is in Sharia law, a woman does not share her property with her husband. Property that belongs to a woman belongs to a woman alone. And property that belongs to a man has to be shared with his wife because of the family. So, and that is the argument for giving the male double, because it is expected that he's going to take care of a family, and the woman who gets 1 unit is expected that she will get from her husband. So that is that. Another area that is also maybe in today's world an area of contention is that Sharia law only recognizes marriage. And what is marriage? Marriage is consent and witnesses. You understand? So it's very easy to get married in Islamic law as long as you have witnesses and consent with the families. You have appointed, families, or what you would call sponsors. That is marriage. So then that makes the children legitimate. Unfortunately, when men hide their children and don't, have that, unfortunately, the religion does not recognize children out of wedlock because it doesn't actually recognize sex out of wedlock. So that's that. And then also the other thing I wanted to highlight was that sometimes there are conflicts with the Act, especially in terms of legitimacy of children. And there have been cases that have happened, since I only have 30 seconds, that in the end, the Act does take precedence. So if you are say you live in Kano and you're not happy with Sharia law, you go to the appeal court, which is also Sharia bound. If you're still not happy, you have the right to go to the Supreme Court where the Act kicks in. So I just wanted to, because I didn't see that, and Sharia and the Muslim law is a large part of our society. Unfortunately, it was politicized and given a negative connotation, but in reality, it actually does take care of things without emotions, and so everybody knows what they're going in for. So that so it's not a question, it's a comment just to bring in that perspective. And if there were questions and you want me to answer, I will. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Ma. And that's a very, very rich and welcome insight. It has also enriched the conversation. Thank you so much for sharing. I actually saw some questions around Sharia in the question, but there are lots, and it looks like we would have to bundle a lot of questions together. So we want to thank you especially for this intervention. Thank you very much. So I quickly go to the remaining two people that I have named. So Clentina, we can have you please 30 seconds. I'm supposed to wrap up this session in a few minutes, and we still have loads to take. And I'm still going back to the chat room whilst I allow the members to round up. But be rest assured, all of us here, that we will collate the questions, even if we don't take your own today. So Clentina, you are next.
Thank you, Dr. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Clementina Busayo, and my questions are as follows. Madam Chair, please, what is the position of the law in our local laws, especially because with His Royal Majesty's conversation, and I really want to thank WIMBIZ for this opportunity because, again, knowledge is power. It was good to hear him say some of the things he said, and I began to think to myself that are these positions, are they documented? So to Madam Chair, I would like her to speak to the place of local laws in the light of what we know as law. Is there a place for customs? Do the law recognize like customs? And if it came to like a situation where we were claiming a property right, would the custom prevail? And on the lighter note, I would have loved HRH to confirm if he did say we can come to Ogale for a visit. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Clentina. So, Madam Chair, please note that question. I quickly take Blossom Senator Iroegbu. If you can hear me, you can speak, and 30 seconds for your question.
Okay, good afternoon, Chair. Thank you so much. This has been a very, very wonderful opportunity for us to learn as women, because I'm in the middle of one now. I don't know if people can hear me. Can you hear me?
Yes, please, we can hear you.
All right. So my dad died like 4 years ago, and I'm the first child. I'm the first daughter. And I noticed something my mom was trying to do. She practically handed the whole properties. So my dad had property, has houses, he has land and everything. Has a house in the village. So he handed everything to my mom now, because my dad didn't die leaving a will. It was an unexpected death. So he left and he didn't prepare that. So my mom handed everything over to because when he died, my younger sister was like, what are we going to do, sister? So on my own side, I said, okay, let the boys take the properties where we are living, where my mom is living now, because it's quite a big one. Then my dad has some small houses he built, one here and there and everything before he went away. So my mom stood against that decision, I saw that she was practically giving everything to my brother. I was asking, I said, Mommy, after a long while, maybe like last year, Mommy, can you please release the other properties to us, are the 4 girls? because the other houses where she lives, a big duplex, and where she and my brother are living, and the other one for my younger brother in the US. So I was asking, can we have the girls, can we have the ones that my dad just only built? We can share the 50 by 50, 100 by 100, and my mom refused. So I've been quite careful about everything, not to offend the woman, and so I kept quiet. So what are the requirements? Because my younger brother went ahead to go and sell the house in the day, put the money in his pocket, and my mom left the papers with him. So I'm afraid, let him not go and sell the other property. So what are the provisions that are in the law? A man did not live away, and you as a child, you don't want to feel cheated when they give my mother especially handing everything over to my younger brother. I don't know if people can understand the whole situation, because it's firstborn thing, and because it's a traditional in where I come from, where my dad comes from. I mean, I'm married my husband 17 years now. Where my dad comes from, they don't share property with women and all those stuff. I told my mom, I said, those days are past. Those things are no longer existing. So what are the provisions that are available? Because I really want something from my dad. I know that I actually took care of my own dad. I want something from my dad. So I don't know what should I do in this situation? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for those wonderful questions. So this is what we will do, because we have a few minutes to round up. Mrs. Akingbade, if you can in 1 minute, that would be great. Then attend to the questions from your perspective of the law, and we'll let His Royal Highness also take another 1 minute to address the questions from the position of the tradition, the culture. Then we can go back to 1 questions each in the chat, and we wrap up, so we can do justice to our time.
Thank you,
Over
ma'am.
to
Before
you.
I start, can I quickly ask the last speaker where her dad is from, where she's from?
Yes, the last speaker is a question for you. Where is your dad from?
Where are you from?
I think in her
Senator
question, she
Ire.
mentioned Edo State. She had put it as a question. I think she mentioned Edo State.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. So I'm going to merge the 2 questions, because the initial question can also be answered through her own scenario. What is the place of local laws? You see, Nigerian legal system is twofold. We have the statutory laws and we have the customary laws. And this can cut across different areas in terms of marriage, in terms of inheritance, and in terms of other different things. So the customary laws, they have their place. But any custom or tradition that is repugnant to equity and fairness, it would not be upheld.
Yeah, cool.
It won't be upheld.
I'm sure they can hear me.
So
also try to get this on.
So does the law recognize customs? Well, our laws mainly draw from common law, which is British law. Some of them maybe have received some tweaks here and there to domesticate it to our local situation. But like I said, we run a 2 system, statutory and customary. Now, whether in a situation that is catered to by statutory laws, and there's a clash between statutory and customary law, how will it be addressed? So I'll now move into the next lady's question, and who gave the scenario of what has happened in her family. When I started this conversation, I said Nigerian law provides robustly for the protection of women's rights to own property, to inherit, and all of that, and not to be discriminated against. However, our customs, which is the biggest bucket, have a huge role to play in this. I'll give you an example. There are so many landmark cases which have struck down customs that are otherwise backwards or repugnant, if I'll put it that way. And what have those laws said? What are those? I just want to give you some examples of those cases in 30 seconds. In 30 seconds, you have 30 seconds, give me a minute. And it's interesting to note that most of these cases came from the eastern part of Nigeria, which is why I said that customary law vary, and I'm happy with the ambassadors shedding light on the Sharia aspect of it that covers the northern part. You have Ukeje versus Ukeje. Those were one of the landmark decisions, and where the Supreme Court declared unconstitutional the Igbo customary rule that excluded female children from inheriting their father's estate solely because they were female. And there is there are also judgments that cover Edo State in that regard, even though it has been said, and I'm glad that you mentioned that you suggested to your sisters that the house where your father is living, and that is known as the Ijogwe. I hope I'm pronouncing it properly. That's even the judgment recognizes that that should be left for the oldest male child or the male children. So apart from that, women are entitled to inherit. You also have Anekwe versus Anekwe, which deals with customs that prevent widows from inheriting, and you find that custom prevalent in the eastern part of the country, some parts of the western part as well. Widows, they will tell you you cannot inherit. You have Mojeku versus Mojeku, which was the original case, that struck down customs that denied women their inheritance rights, stating that it was inconsistent with natural justice, equity, and good conscience, and therefore it cannot be enforced. In your situation, and I'm tying it to the other lady's question.
To cut at this point, Madam Chair, so if you round up because
no,
of
let me land.
time.
Let me land. I just want to land on it. So in your situation, you are protected by the law. If you want to inherit from your father, you can. But are you ready to go the route of going to court to enforce your rights with your family? That is the biggest challenge. Some people, even though they know, the rigors that it will take to enforce their rights is always a problem. So that is a question for you to answer yourself. Yes, you can go and enforce your rights and inherit from your father, but you need to appreciate what that may do to your family relationship and weigh it according to the greater good when more people hear that this is happening. So thank you.
Thank you very much. It's indeed that's a dilemma, but maybe worth trying as women. Thank you so much. Now we have to wrap up. We will really have to collate the questions. There are so many and very relevant, so we have to deal with them. So I have to take the parting shots now from both of you, ma'am and sir. I'll start with His Royal Highness. Sir, in 30 seconds, please. Give us your parting shots in 30 seconds.
I hope you can hear me.
Questions. Because of
you can
time.
Hear me, right?
Sir, we can hear you, but because of time, we can only take 30 seconds parting shots from the panel members. We have to wrap up. So thank you, sir.
I want to again thank you and all of you for inviting me. And this is a wonderful discourse today. I believe that with the lady whose name sounds Ogale, we have land for her, she can come. And then for the documentation, yes, our traditions are part of us. It is there. And now we in the palace, we are giving judgment. So there are now traditional case laws that defines some of these positions. And the other lady who is a brother, that's what I said. Maybe it's your brothers. The property acquired by your dad. I don't know whether it's a family, a larger family, but if the property acquired by your dad, it belongs to all of you. It belongs to both male and female. And so talk to your brothers. They love you. I'm sure they can divide it. And that's your mother is only going towards that. But it belongs to all of you. So I thank all of you. I want you to know that our tradition loves both male and female. God bless you.
Thank you, sir. His Royal Highness King Godwin Opabe. Baby Opa, thank you so much, sir. Mrs. Akingbade, in 30 seconds, your parting shots.
Well, my parting shots, I'm glad that we're having this conversation. I'll encourage WIMBIZ to do more in terms of advocacy, not just WIMBIZ, anyone else on this call. You have listened to what we have said. You have listened to the rights that women have. You know that women have rights to own property. You know that women have rights to inherit property. You know that women have all sorts of rights around property. However, we all need to be aware that these rights exist. Both men and women need to be aware that these rights exist. There needs to be a mental shift from where we are coming to embrace where we currently are, because the world has changed and the way things were done 20, 30, 50, 100, 1,000 years ago, we have moved beyond that. So everybody, male and female alike, must embrace these times that we are in and the changes that are coming up. And if there are customs areas that would say, oh, women should not do this or do that, times have changed and we must all move with the times. However, while we're trying to move with the times, we must be sensitive, we must be emotionally intelligent about it, because let us remember that these are customs and traditions that we have grown up with. They are a part of us. And to get people to think differently has to be handled tactfully. You have the rights, you can enforce it. If you go to any court, your rights will be enforced. Explore every option to resolve amicably first as a family so that you maintain that family bond. But where that fails and where it is just plainly unfair and it feels highly unjust, please think about the greater good and so many other women that would be helped by your case, and take it up so that we can use your case, as another example to buttress the fact that women have rights. So we'll continue to talk, we'll continue to advocate. Everyone on this call is an advocate for this cause. So you must take the knowledge that you have gotten from this webinar and you must push it out and sensitize to everybody around you so that the awareness can spread far and wide. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ma, and everyone on the call. Thank you too for staying through. Remember that we have a feedback form, and we will share more insight. We will collate the questions. We will share contact details of our speakers, from the first speaker that had to leave due to an emergency from the Federal Mortgage Bank. And then we will share her contact with everyone. So before handing over to the closing remark, I want us to know that today's discussion reminds us that women's property rights are not solely legal issues. They are economic issues. They have development components and a governance component as well. And ultimately, a human dignity issue as well for all of us. Progress will require collaboration among the lawmakers, financial institutions, traditional institutions, civil society, and every one of us on this call and beyond. So on behalf of WIMBIZ, I sincerely want to thank our distinguished speakers, from Mrs. Aliyu from the Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria to Mrs. Akingbade Uchenna, the chairman, Nigerian Bar Association, Lagos branch, and of course, His Royal Highness, King Godwin Bebe of Abi. Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom, and our audience, of course, for contributing thoughtful questions. Thank you for investing your time, everyone, and shaping today's conversation and policies that will follow. It's been a great pleasure moderating this session. We will collect the questions and come back to you. Please remember to fill the feedback forms. I now invite our Vice Chair, Mrs. Princess, Efrida Spiff O'Malley, to deliver the closing remarks. Vice Chair, over to you. Thank you, everyone. Vice Chair, we can't hear you. I can see that you are speaking, but we cannot hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you. Thank you.
All
So
right.
over to you.
Thank you so much, my chair. Thank you, my chair. That was a well-moderated session. Thank you, everyone, for still being here. Here in Port Harcourt, it's a cold afternoon. Thank you for joining me. I have been enlightened. I'm sure you've been highly enlightened today. It was such an insightful session. So I will be, on behalf of the board and trustees, management team of WIMBIZ, I would like to thank everyone for attending this year 2026 WIMBIZ Advocacy webinar. It's been a beautiful afternoon. Thank you all. Before we leave, an evaluation link has been sent to everyone's email. Trust everyone registered. Evaluation link. And we really want to hear your opinion. Your feedback really, really matters to us. So please kindly fill out, the form and the link sent to you. We also want to use this opportunity to kindly invite our dear attendees who are not yet WIMBIZ associates to join us today. This can be done by filling the form on the WIMBIZ website, which is www.wimbiz.org, or contact our WIMBIZ membership team via email, which is membership@wimbiz.org. All our attendees today, you will find the link in the chat box. You can just go and click it, and it will take you right there. I also want to acquaint you with some of our upcoming events that you enjoy as WIMBIZ associates. And also, it's also open to the Greater House as well. We have a program called Sponsor a Girl. This is an initiative of the WIMBIZ Big Sister program, a one-day mentoring initiative for senior secondary school girls between the classes of SS1 to SS3 here in Nigeria. It empowers girls aged between 14 and 18 with confidence, leadership skills, career guidance, and an entrepreneurial mindset to prepare them for life after school. This year, the program will reach out to over 1,500 girls across Abuja, Port Harcourt, Ibadan, and Lagos, providing mentorship, educational resources, stationery, workbooks, and hygiene packs. Your sponsorship can help a girl dream bigger and build a brighter future. Sponsor a girl today by clicking on the link. It's all in the chat box. Also, I have more good news for you. Please go ahead and save the date. WIMBIZ Fit at 25. Yes, WIMBIZ turns 25 this year. And this is coming up, and it is scheduled to hold on Saturday, August 1st, 2026. It is a signature global wellness initiative, and it is designed to inspire physical well-being, mental reliance, and sustainable self-care amongst women leaders and professionals across our global community. I have more good news for you. Kindly save the date once more. The 25th annual conference of WIMBIZ is happening here in Nigeria, in Lagos, on the 5th and 6th of November. You do not want to miss it at all. It is our flagship event, renowned as a standout gathering on Nigerian conference calendar. It brings together an inspiring community of high-achieving women in management, business, and public service. Get ready for a powerful 2 days of insight, connection, and impact. You don't want to miss this, trust me. I also have great news for our associates. We have the WIMBIZ Discount Corner, which is officially live. You see why you have to join WIMBIZ? You need to be an associate to enjoy all of this. You can now enjoy exclusive discounts and special partner offers curated just for you as part of your membership benefits. Access all this on www.wimbiz.org/membership discount corner. All that will be put in the chat box. We encourage you to explore the page and take full advantage of these exciting perks. More value, more benefits, because you belong. Next, we have our WIMBIZ bag holders. Ladies, no more placing your bag on the bare floor on the table. Simply hook and hang with ease. Keep your bags clean, secure, and within reach. This can all be yours for just 12,500. To register for our upcoming program, kindly click on the link provided in the chat box or visit our website, www.wimbiz.org, to register to reach out to us. Or you can reach out to us via our programs at wimbiz.org. Kindly follow us across all our social media platforms to be addressed with all our programs and activities. On Instagram, it's at wimbiz.ng. Facebook, it is Women in Management, Business, and Public Service. On LinkedIn, it's WIMBIZ-NG. Twitter, which is now known as X, it is at WIMBIZ. You can equally subscribe to our YouTube channel, which is at WIMBIZ. And on this note, I'll first of all want to acknowledge and thank our Chairman Board of Trustees for being here today and every other member of the ESCO, Mrs. Ebisa Akisaya. I also want to acknowledge our Executive Director, Mrs. Omawumi Akimbo Humbe, for being here as well. I also want to acknowledge the Chairman of the WIMBIZ Advocacy Committee, Dr. Funke Medu, who also served as a lovely moderator for today. And before we leave, I want to say a big thank you to our esteemed speakers, starting with His Royal Highness King Godwin Bebe Okpabi, who is the Onehe in charge and the paramount ruler of Ogali Kingdom. We are packing our bags, Your Highness, and we're coming to Ogali for a weekend. Let us explore the land option and others. Thank you so much, sir, for all your insights today. I also equally want to thank our brilliant Mrs. Uchenna Akingbade, who is the chairman of the Nigerian Bar Association, the NBA Lagos chapter. Thank you so much, madam. Wow, the combination of both the customary and the statutory law really came into play today. We're really enlightened. Thank you so much, madam. I also want to thank Mrs. Sadia Aliyu, Deputy Manager, Federal Mortgage Bank, who had to leave because she had an emergency come up earlier on today. So thank you so much, madam, for your insights. I know a lot of people are going to log on to the Federal Mortgage Bank to get information about getting loans. Thank you so much, madam. Also, before we leave, I want to once again thank our moderator and all members of the advocacy community, and also our WIMBIZ HQ. And before I leave, I also want to acknowledge our anchor, Mrs. Shola Magaji, for such a beautiful event today. Thank you, everyone, and God bless you. And I wish you all a beautiful afternoon. Thank you for now, and we look forward to seeing you in the rest of our program. Thank you. Enjoy your day.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you.
We can have nice pictures, VC.
Doesn't matter.
I think
Yeah.
all speakers, please turn on your video so we can take a picture.
Please, before we leave, I would just like to ask everyone to put on their pictures, their videos rather, so that we can take a group picture. Please indulge us for this last time. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you. Are we ready? Are all our videos on? HQ, are we done?
Has picture been taken?
Oh, yes,
All right,
madam.
thank you so much.
Thank
Pictures
you.
have been taken.
Everyone.
Thank you very much. And we'll
Thank
share this
you,
across
everyone.
our social media platforms. Thank you so much. God bless you all. Thank you.